everybody in college football is dropping that bag on guys out of high school, players in the portal. Nobody ever brings up how much Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and Oregon spend on a recruit. But when Miami and USC, God forbid, spend some money on a 5-star recruit, it makes front page news about how much they spent on this guy, how big of a bag they dropped on this dude. When USC got that commitment from 5-star tight end Mark Bowman, it was they gave him Bryce Underwood type money. When Miami got Jackson Cantwell, 5-star offensive tackle, it was they paid him $2 million per season. They outbidded Georgia. When everybody in this sport is spending money on everybody, even teams that you wouldn't think had NIL money or spending NIL money. Think of the worst team in college football on the lowest level. They have NIL money. Yeah, Kent State has money to spend on name, image, and likeness. Hell, I graduated from Florida Atlantic University. They spent $300,000 on their team last year. Everybody in this sport has money, and everybody's throwing it around to assemble the best team possible. People hate on what Miami and USC are doing in recruiting, why they bring up how much they're spending on these 5-star recruits, because they're jealous that these two programs are no longer dead blue bloods. They know that USC is on the rise. They know that the Trojans program has been revitalized by their new general manager, Chad Bowman, and head coach Lincoln Riley. Everybody knows that Mario Cristobal is one of the most relentless recruiters in college football. NIL has re-energized these two at a time dead blue blood programs. So it's no reason to continue to throw in the face how much Miami and USC drop on the recruit. Certain teams have a certain amount that they're willing to invest into a particular player or a certain position. Georgia doesn't need to spend a lot of NIL money on certain guys if they feel it's not justified. That's their prerogative. Miami doesn't have to feel the same. But Miami shouldn't feel guilty for having a bunch of NIL money just because they're rich. Same thing with USC. USC and Miami are the two most hated programs in college football simply because they can outbid anybody. Texas was dropping millions on defensive tackles out of high school and in the portal, but On3, 247 Sports, they never reported on that. None of these college football media outlets ever report on how much certain schools spend unless it's Miami or USC to push this narrative that these programs can only get certain guys because they have a lot of money to throw at them. No, these recruits are coming to USC and Miami because they believe in the vision of both of these programs. USC is locking down the state of California. Miami is able to shut down South Florida. Yeah, a few guys may slip through the cracks here or there, but it's not only because of money. Yeah, money is a large influence in a lot of these commitment decisions, but it's not the end-all, be-all. When these recruits go to a campus, they have to love the coaching staff. They want to make it to the NFL because they know the goal isn't to max out cashing out in college. You also want to max out and get that life-changing money in the NFL. The college money is just to get you through for a few years, help you buy a nice iced out chain, have you driving around in a nice car on campus. But getting into the NFL is when you get that bigger bag. That's when you get that generational money. Georgia has as big as a collective as anybody. If they want to drop $2-3 million on the guy out of high school, they have the ability to do it. So does Alabama. So does Oregon. Hell, Phil Knight has essentially given Oregon unlimited NIL money. I guess it's dried out as of late because I haven't seen Oregon get a lot of commitments lately. But when Oregon was going on their recruiting run last year, Nobody ever mentioned how much money they were spending on these recruits, how much money they were spending on the transfer portal, stealing guys off other teams, which is illegal, by the way. Tampering is illegal. Everything that USC and Miami are getting hated on is perfectly within the confines of the rules. But nobody ever bats an eye when anybody else does it. Hell, Nick Saban was paying guys under the table illegally for years. And yet people want to act like it never happened. Tennessee was paying guys, putting money in McDonald's bags. So why is it that USC and Miami are the only programs when they get a commit, it's only because they threw a lot of money at a guy? Let's stop the hate, because it's rooted in jealousy. A lot of y'all know that USC and Miami are coming for you, and it scares you because you know that your program, your team cannot compete with the amount of money that USC and Miami have to spend. College football essentially is pay to win. It's like Madden Ultimate Team. What are you going to do? Are you going to complain and get mad because you don't have enough money to keep up with USC and Miami? That sounds like a personal problem.